game from 2007, developed by Traveler's Tales, who developed all of the LEGO games, and published by Warner Brothers. LEGO Batman is the final piece of the trilogy for me in terms of LEGO games that I played when I was a kid, that I've now done videos on this channel for. And the first two pieces being LEGO Star Wars and LEGO Indiana Jones. So I'm very excited to share this one with you. The aesthetic of this game is kind of like the Tim Burton Batman movie, I would say it's most similar to, and it does use that soundtrack. But you know what, I got a list here. Something I thought would be fun would be to just read through the many LEGO games in this franchise. So, in 2005 we had LEGO Star Wars, the video game. In 2006 we had LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga came in 2007. 2008 saw both LEGO Indiana Jones and LEGO Batman. 2009 had LEGO Indiana Jones 2. The Harry Potter game, the first one, years 1 through 4 came in 2010. LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars came in 2011, which also saw LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean. LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7 was also 2011, so that was 3 games that year. LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes came in 2012, which also saw LEGO Lord of the Rings. LEGO Marvel Superheroes in 2013. LEGO The Hobbit in 2014. LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham in 2014. And LEGO Dimensions in 2015. 2016 had LEGO Marvel's Avengers. And 2017 had LEGO Worlds along with LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2. In 2018, there was LEGO DC Supervillains. And the year after, 2019, was the LEGO Movie 2, the video game. And then a big gap. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga came out in 2022. So I just thought that would be fun to look at how massive this franchise has been. They were just churning out games for years and years there. And what was it, 2011, they released 3 separate games. Yeah, this franchise has certainly been pretty popular. But anyway, you have to forgive me, as with all of these Lego games, I have been returning to them after many years, and I do not remember what to do in the levels, or often even how many of the mechanics work. So, if I'm wandering around looking like a fool and not progressing the mission, it's probably because I am a fool and am struggling to figure out how to proceed. Also, this is a whispering only video, and I have cranked the gain up on my microphone to what I think is a reasonable level, where, I'm trying to ride the line of getting that very clicky whisper that some people really like, without raising the gain so high that the sounds start to become harsh. So, as always, I'm always interested in feedback with how you like the sounds. So, just let me know if the audio works for you here. And we are just fighting some of the Riddler's goons here. In Lego Batman, the story plays out in 3 arcs, I guess. 3 crimes that the bad guys are trying to commit. And in each of these story arcs, it's like 5 bad guys that get together to, carry out this plot. And each level sees you taking down one of the bad guys involved in the plot. So, in this one, we are taking care of Clayface. I believe we're facing down Clayface. And the Riddler is the ultimate enemy of this story arc. But of course, what's fun about this game is you can also play the villain side. You can go to Arkham Asylum and play through the same heists, but on the bad guy's side, so it's pretty entertaining. But here we are navigating Gotham with all the green sludge everywhere. Green toxic sludge blocking our path. And in this game, there is a kind of central mechanic as the heroes where you are changing your suit. You have a variety of suits with different special powers is a Robin suit that you unlock later in the game, where you can vacuum up all that stuff, and then later on deposit it to create, for it to drop out some new buildable object or something like that. So, while I just send out RC car after RC car here, how are you all doing? There we go. Okay, just run across the buttons. How are you all doing out there? I'm doing pretty well myself. The job that I've been working for a while just wrapped up. And so, which is normal in my line of work. But, you know, it also means that I now have a lot more free time until I find, until I get called in for the next job. So, I have a lot more free time on my hands. Although, not really, doesn't feel that way because I've been quite busy otherwise. And I've been, I have videos come out every Friday. That's my minimum. But if I have time in the week, I also like to release a second video on Tuesdays. And in the coming weeks, I might have to. For a while, I was on a hot streak of having time to do Tuesday videos, but in the coming weeks, I might have to slack off a little bit on that and only get my Friday videos out. But anyway, okay, we just have to keep dropping these bombs. And then blow that open. What's in here? How do I get to Clayface? I have to blow up every piece of that thing. No. Anyway, yeah, but that's, that's things on my end. But yeah, I've been, just living life otherwise, enjoying the summer, going outside, applying lots of sunscreen, going to the pool, working out a lot, which I, feel like this is an under-discussed issue if you are a person that works out, but when you're putting on more muscle, it makes your clothes situation pretty different from if you were, for years I had a very static body type. My weight didn't really change. I could wear the same clothes for years, and I did. And then I started working out, and you get your noob gains, as they say. You get a lot of gains early in the workout process. But and so then all those clothes that I wore. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what to do here. I'm a little stuck. was very sad. And so I had to buy a lot of new clothes. But unfortunately, the initial body transformation was much more significant, but, I forgot about the batarang. I forgot that was an ability. Okay, here we have a little cutscene of Clayface being apprehended. And Two-Face is out there. And the Riddler has taken the key that they need. Oh, and there's Batman chasing down the Riddler. Clayface trips Batman. Alright. But they got a tracker on their car so he can continue to pursue them. But yeah, as I was saying, the body changes from working out. They slow down at a certain point, but they still do add up over time. And, so the clothes situation is just kind of a rolling disaster. Anyway, this is all just on my mind because, as I was saying, I've been swimming, because it's summertime. And, I had this, swimsuit that I loved, that used to fit me, and I pulled it out the first time, this summer that I went swimming. I showed up at the pool and got changed into it, and we don't have to go to the grisly details, but let's just say that it was an immodest thing to wear. No, it's all I had, so I had to make it work that day. But anyway, it's just stuff like that. Something's in your closet for a while. You forget about it. You put away something for the season, and then next year you pull it out and it doesn't fit anymore. It's a sad fact of life. Anyway, here we are at Wayne Manor / the Batcave. And this is our trophy room here, where all of the mini kits that you assemble throughout the game are placed here for display. And I'm just running around exploring because I've forgotten the layout of this place. Speaking of working out, I didn't really mean for this to become the physical fitness video of the day or whatever, but as long as we're on the topic, I have recently kind of modified my program because, we all have our own bodies and, muscle groups grow at different rates for different people. And the workout program that I've been using, this ties into why my swimsuit no longer fits. My lower body just grows at such a faster rate than my upper body. So the hamstrings, the quads, the butt, the legs in general, the calves, they've all gotten really big, and my chest and arms and back have grown at a comparatively much lower rate. And that's fine, you know, I don't, at this point, I don't really work out for vanity. You know, I have a healthy relationship with my body, and my self-image, and so I don't really care if it's not that it's making me feel uncomfortable or whatever, but, oh, let's look at this. Scientist specializing in cryogenics, Dr. Victor Fry froze his wife to prevent her to prevent her death from a rare disease, but he was injured in his lab and found himself unable to survive outside a subzero environment. As Mr. Freeze, consumed by anger, uses frozen weaponry to battle against the city of Gotham, and wears a refrigerated suit, which gives him remarkable strength. So, we are blasting off to take on the Frozen Doctor. And this level takes place in an ice cream factory, I believe. But, what was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, I don't really I'm not entering bodybuilding competitions or anything like that. It's not really a big deal, but I just thought, you know, well, I should try to balance out my physique a little more as just a goal to work towards. So I have changed my program a little bit to emphasize my upper body more. I'm not decreasing the time that I work on, you know, legs and the lower body. I'm still going to be doing the same amount of that, but I'm increasing the energy every week put towards upper body. So, you know, I'll be interested to see if that makes much progress. If I see a change in that direction. And, you know, it's just kind of fun, I guess, at this point. Like, you know, before I got into working out, it was sort of it felt like something where I was like, oh, I should work out, and I think, you know, you should, because it's healthy. Obviously, weightlifting is just a very specific aspect of working out, and I try not to focus only on strength. I'm sorry. I can just imagine some of you, like, very excited about Lego Batman or something, and here I am talking for 20 minutes straight about exercise. I should have made this its own video. But anyway, you know, we're on the train now, so sorry, but this is where we're at. But yeah, I think strength training is obviously healthy to a degree, but you know, it's good to be strong so that you can do things in the world and lift heavy boxes and whatever. But there's obviously a lot more to health than that, and my goal is not to be strong per se. I mean, I want to be strong, but my goal is not to just be, very strong guy. My goal is to be healthy, and we have opened adding more weight to your body is not generally a healthy thing to do for longevity purposes. And I want to live a long, healthy life, so I have zero issue reducing some of my potential muscle gains for the sake of living a healthier life. But anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm at with like fitness, my goals and stuff. And when I started working out, it was, as with any habit, when you start it can be kind of hard. And so it took a while for me to kind of crack the code on how to be motivated to work out and go running and stuff like that. Whoops. But once I got the habit down and stuff, it would honestly be hard to not work out, right? If I'm injured or whatever and can't work out for whatever reason, it's kind of, it's pretty unpleasant for like my mental health and just general feeling of well-being. So I do kind of rely on it as just a nice positive aspect of my weekly routine. But yeah, can I walk? Is there anything hidden over here? No. Nope. Okay. Yeah, so I am working, I'm stuck on this little sliding, there we go. My goal now, and not one that I'm going to go crazy about, but, just my light goal is to balance out my physique a little bit with, increasing my upper body, development, I guess, in comparison to my lower body. And one thing that is just coming to mind about how I sort of got in the habit of working out was just like, I don't know, everybody is motivated differently, and what works for me is not necessarily going to work for somebody else, and vice versa. So this isn't me saying like this has to be everybody's experience or whatever, but when I was struggling to build the habit of working out, I would kind of start and stop, and I'd get on a habit for a few weeks, and then it would fall apart or whatever. One thing that helped me, however, the thing that, in my experience, finally kind of cracked the code was sort of letting go of how do I put this, like, letting go of the need for my body to be a certain way. Because before I started working out, I was very much in the mindset of like, oh, I have to be this muscular, I have to be able to run this distance, I have to be able to blah blah blah. And I would often struggle with maintaining the fitness habits that I was starting. But what finally kind of cracked the code for me was developing just like that sense of peace and satisfaction with my body first, coming to the place of like, no, I like my body the way that it is, and I'm grateful that it works as well as it does, and blah blah blah, all of that good self-love, positive self-image stuff, right? was then able to maintain the habits of fitness that I wanted to start. So, not to say that's necessarily right for everybody. Maybe some of us out there need a little bit more of that, like, coach yelling at you, get your ass in gear, drill sergeant type of like, you maggot, get up and start working out or whatever. But I found for myself that it was only once I kind of chilled out and just developed that positive self-image that I was then able to make the positive changes that I wanted to see. Yada 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 yada. So anyway, I think I've talked enough about this topic. It's 30 minutes into the video or something, and I'm still yapping. So let's just call that the fitness corner of the day. Oh, and you know what? On that topic, actually, before I leave the topic, I will just shout out Low Growl ASMR, a very phenomenal channel. He recently made a video about his the start of his fitness journey, basically, and wanting to get healthy. So, if you haven't seen his channel, check him out. And obviously I wish him the best in his journey, of getting fit. And, let's see, is this, oh no, this is just like, this is a mini kit over here. Okay, I think this is something you have to come back to when you have more, or wait, no, if Robin can come over here, where am I supposed to go? Is this, okay, yeah, this is the boss area. We're gonna fight Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze. So yeah, this is a pretty classic Batman aesthetic, right? It's very like, the 60s Batman, the 80s Batman, a little campy, pretty comedic, pretty like, very goofy with the gadgets and stuff, like Robin strapping giant magnet shoes on to walk up metal walls and stuff like that. Not like the many modern iterations of Batman in recent years, where they are all very gritty and serious and sorry, I was punching Dr. Freeze and it wasn't doing damage, so I'm trying to figure out. No, can I make the jump? No, I cannot. I'm just throwing away thousands of studs. Stop hitting me, please. Yeah, this was obviously before, the modern superhero craze. And so it was more influenced by these earlier depictions of the, the stories and the characters. And there was a lot more campiness before this current generation. Although obviously, you have a lot of, there's a lot of Marvel stuff. Oh, okay. You just have to hit him in the maybe I just had to punch him a certain number of times, I don't know. Anyway, we are making progress again, that's the important part. And while we're on the topic of Batman video games, of course we have to shout out the Batman Arkham series, which is really good. I think my favorite is Arkham City. Is that the one where I might be getting these confused? In one of them, there's like a bounty placed on Batman, and it's like kill Batman tonight, and you get, some massive amount of money. Just focusing on these jumps. That might have been Arkham Knight. I think that was. Arkham City was great though. It, heavily featured the Joker and brought in the Mark Hamill Joker for that. Of course, he's voiced the Joker, in some animated shows and stuff. And Mark Hamill's Joker is just an incredible depiction of the character. Obviously, a lot of credit goes to the writing team for that as well, but Mark Hamill's voiceover performance for the Joker is just phenomenal. Heath Ledger obviously has a pretty legendary Joker performance, and there's no need to, compare two legends against each other, but in my opinion, the only two Jokers that are really vying for number one in terms of actor performances would be Mark Hamill's and Heath Ledger's. Those are my two favorites anyway, let's just say that. We have dealt with Mr. Freeze. And his little jetpack, or his ice machine thing turns into a jetpack, and he's knocked all around. The Riddler tickles his feet. Okay, and the Riddler leaves us another clue, another little clue box. Have you seen the new Superman movie? It came out recently, the James Gunn one. I've heard really good things, but I haven't seen it yet myself. I would love to, though. I've heard that it's very good, and sounds like it returns to, it puts aside the kind of very cynical version of superheroes that we've had in recent years, with stuff like, the Snyderverse and all that, and, who is running around upstairs? Who's running? Okay, I have to tell you guys, actually, I got this very funny flyer posted on my front door. I live in an apartment, and former District Attorney Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, is a villain with a split personality. Every decision is dictated by a double-sided coin scored on one side, which is GC Bank. So this level is focused on Two-Face. We are taking out Two-Face here. And this is a vehicle level, which the LEGO games do sometimes. So we'll be hunting down Two-Face. Yeah, I got this. I like this little bit of Lego comedy here. Commissioner Gordon putting up, do not enter signs to stop the Riddler and Two-Face. Also, one of the most satisfying things in the Lego games for me is when you're playing a vehicle level and you're just running around destroying the environment and you just see all of the trails of studs flying directly up into your stud counter. Just something about seeing them, like, all automatically brought to, you're just collecting them all automatically, and none of them are being missed. You're not losing any studs. They're all just flying right up there. There's something very satisfying about that to me. But anyway, I was saying that there was this flyer on my door the other day, and it had this, like, whole page written on it. There was a ton of writing, and it was saying, basically, like, it was this whole rant about how upstairs neighbors are too loud in the apartment, and, they've contacted the HOA about it, and their complaints have been ignored, and, they've been bothered at all hours of the day by children moving around in their apartment, heavy footsteps moving around in the apartment, and, just went on and on and on, and was like, if you're bothered by this as well, contact the HOA. They can't ignore all of us. Anyway, it's pretty silly because, I live in this apartment, and there's a very normal amount of noise coming from above. It's not really that loud. Like everybody, there's obviously people make noise sometimes in their own home, and so sometimes you do hear the neighbors above you. And obviously I record ASMR videos, so I'm somewhat extra sensitive to noise, because if things are too noisy, then I cannot record a video at that time. But, yeah, anyway, it just made me laugh. Especially the part where they were like, if you're bothered by children playing at all hours of the day, or heavy footsteps from above you, I'm like, you're expecting children not to play, like you don't want the kids to play in their own house. Or, the heavy footsteps where it's like, okay, somebody is walking around their own home. Oh no, what a crime. Anyway. It just it made me laugh, especially because on the sheet, the flyer that they posted, they were like, if you have a problem with this as well, contact the HOA and talk to your neighbors on the same floor. They specified, talk to your neighbors on the same floor. And nowhere did they say, go talk to your upstairs neighbors if it's a problem. Like, if somebody above me was making a ton of noise, I think you could just go say, hi, it just gets a little loud sometimes. Wondering if you can try to keep it down if possible. Or for me, I'd be like, hey, I record in my apartment. Is there a good time where, things could be quieter up there that I could record or whatever? Anyway, It's just, that's my local community drama of the day. Pretty silly. There we go. I've been looking for this last truck. Been looking for this last truck. This last truck. But yeah, the superhero genre of film, it does feel a little bit like it's having to adapt or die, right? You know, Marvel was the biggest thing in the world for a while, and they've been kind of losing, you know, ground, not being as much of an event as they were before. And it does feel like people are just maybe a little sick of the superhero movies. You know, they've been the number one thing for so long at this point that, you know, me personally, I would be ready for a little change in the culture. I've had enough of the superhero movies myself. But at the very least, if superhero movies are going to survive, it does feel like they would need to change their tone in some way. Change, you know, what they're doing, and obviously the Marvel writing style has become a bit of a joke at this point. The sort of unserious comedic tone of the writing. But with something like this new Superman movie, and you know, I haven't seen it, so I'm just going off of what I've heard, but I've heard that it's very sincere, it's very hopeful, and just kind of a movie about kindness and being a good person. Okay, we have the cutscene here. Two-Face and Riddler splitting up. Looks like we have a Riddler backed into a corner here. But oh no, what's this? He's gotten away thanks to Poison Ivy. Yeah, that's all just to say that if superhero movies are going to continue, it feels like they need to change for the times, you know? Feels like people are a little sick of the sort of Marvel style of things. And on the other hand, the sort of gritty, cynical take on superheroes that we've had for some years now. Saving content. Please don't turn off your console. Pamela Lillian Isley, aka Poison Ivy, adores plants and uses plant-based toxins in criminal activities. Her athletic build gives her the ability to jump extra high, and she can create new minions with her mutated seeds. Her athletic build gives her the ability to jump extra high. There's that, I talked about this in the Lego Indiana Jones thing, or video, that I think it's very funny in the Lego games, how women they just make them jump high as like a special ability of the female characters. You know? So just one of the classic biological differences between men and women. You know, there's differences in average weight, in average height, in bone density, all these things. But of course, one of the largest differences between men and women is that, the average woman could just jump onto the roof of your house. I don't know, it tickles me for some reason that the Lego games made that like a stylistic choice. Anyway, so here we are at Poison Ivy's lair, this sort of manor house or something, with of course an expansive garden, which is only appropriate for Poison Ivy, Of course she has to have a huge garden here. And we are building a little something here, building a little something. A little vehicle. This looks like construction equipment or something. Not something I would expect to see in a little garden area here. Alright. I think we're good. I might have to cut some of that out for noise reasons. Anyway, I can't remember what we were talking about before. There was a stampede from above me. And I will say, obviously, like, if you've ever lived in a place where there really is, like, insane levels of noise coming from an upstairs neighbor or something, I totally understand. I mean, that would be enough to drive anybody crazy. If it's, like, an unreasonable amount. So yeah, I get that. I get it if you're going a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because of some unreasonable amount of noise from above you. But yeah, that flyer was just kind of funny to me. Also, because I live in the apartment, I know that it's not an unreasonable amount of noise, But yeah, speaking of movie talk, I recently, like, I don't know, a month ago at this point or something, went and saw 28 Years Later, which, is a sequel to 28 Days Later, and has Danny Boyle and Alex Garland return to the franchise. Well, not even really a franchise. I mean, it was just 2 movies, but they didn't even do the second movie. I don't know what the situation was with the second movie, if it was like they just licensed out the name or something. I don't know the story there. But anyway, yeah, 28 Years Later was a phenomenal movie. Very, very, very good if you like, horror movies, I guess. It's more of a, I don't know, it's not like a horror movie, it's sort of more of just an intense thriller type of movie. I highly recommend you check it out. It was really incredible. I liked 28 Days Later, the original movie, but I think I actually like 28 Years Later a lot more. It was just really something special. I won't talk about it any more than that, just for not spoiling anything or whatever, but I just thought it was an amazing movie, and really, really beautiful, actually. really very, very tiny. I mean, it happens in the first, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, and it's really more of a style spoiler than like a plot or character spoiler. But it just got me thinking because in the trailers for the movie, they had, they played this poem, a recording of the Rudyard Kipling poem Boots, which goes something like, boots, 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 moving up and down again, moving up and down again, boots, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in a war. And it was a pretty cool, evocative thing to put in the trailers. You know, I think it was pretty attention-grabbing because that recording of the poem being read, it's from, you know, it's a very old recording from, I don't know, the 20s or something, maybe earlier. I don't recall, but it's got a very cool sound to it, and it's performed in a very intense, intriguing way. And, you know, it was part of the reason why I was like, oh, this movie kind of caught my eye. But then in the movie itself, very early in the movie, they play that poem, they play that audio, and it's a very kind of interesting creative choice, a very attention-grabbing creative choice. And what I found a little off about it was just that I had, you know, once it started happening in the movie, I was like, oh, this is the thing from the trailer, this is the poem from the trailer. And it just, I don't know, it felt like it took me out of the movie a little bit or something. It felt like, oh, they're doing the thing that they did in the trailer. I'm not sure how to put this exactly, like not sure how to describe my discomfort with it, where it's like, I guess it's like a trailer is not the art, right? The movie is the art. The trailer is just the thing that's supposed to show me enough about the movie that it convinces me to go see it. But when I see the trailer first and it causes me to then think differently about the movie when I actually see it, or like change my experience of watching the movie because I've seen the trailer first, that to me feels negative in a way. It feels to me like, you know, oh, I wish I hadn't watched the trailer so that I could see, so that I could have seen this part in the movie without it having been like, without my perception being changed from having seen the trailer. I don't think I'm doing a good job explaining this, but all I'm saying is, if I had seen the movie without seeing the trailer, then that moment when the poem played would have hit in a very different manner. You know, it would have felt very different. But instead, because that poem was in the trailer, what happened was, the poem started playing, and I went, oh, like in the trailer. They're using the thing from the trailer. Now, in reality, of course, the movie came first, and the trailer is, cut together from stuff in the movie, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling about that and not really communicating what I mean very well, so let's tune into the gameplay again here. I'm just trying to wail on Poison Ivy. Building these little bombs to destroy her Audrey 2 plants. Reminds me of, the movie Little Shop of Horrors. It's a movie from, I think, the 50s, maybe the 40s, about an alien plant who lands on Earth and kind of persuades this young loser guy to anyway, sorry, I'm just watching this cutscene. Robin has of course fallen in love with Poison Ivy through the use of love potion spray thing. Anyway, the plant looks like that when it grows up. It's just this giant mouth on a stem. And to be honest, I'm really more thinking of the musical version of the story, with the movie version with Rick Moranis and Ellen Green, which is a very fun movie. Edward Nygma, aka the Riddler, is obsessed with riddles, puzzles, and word games. He delights in leaving clues for Batman at the scene of his crimes, which regularly leads to his downfall. Using specially developed technology incorporated into his cane, he can take control of people's minds. So here we have all of the boxes left by the Riddler, which, when assembled, will surely tell us where the Riddler is going, because the Riddler loves to do that. And this is, I think, a big bank, maybe. Not entirely sure if it's supposed to be a bank or what, but oh yeah, here's big $sign trucks. I guess it's a bank. So, anyway, yeah, I like musicals, by the way. I don't know if I've talked about that before. Not like a crazy musical head or anything, but I really like Stephen Sondheim. A lot of musicals are okay. They're like a little vapid, I guess, but they're sort of fun. But I really like musicals like Sondheim's, where it's very, like, they're great stories. They are really, do a great job with characterization and are just very, human. They're very, just high quality stories. And I don't have a problem with a musical that's just kind of for fun, but I do prefer when it's, dealing with more serious, a more serious level of like artistry, I guess. Or let's just say maturity. I'm not a big fan of Cats, for instance. Sorry, not to knock Andrew Lloyd Webber. I like some of his stuff. Okay, I actually like the is wear roller skates and roller skate around the stage as the trains, and they are singing songs from the perspective of the trains. And it's very goofy and campy, but for some reason, even in its goofiness, it just works for me, and I have a lot of fondness for it. Here we have a swarm of the Riddler's minions, the Riddler's henchmen. And we have to find some way to the bank. So I'm just gonna smash all of these destructible pieces around here. And then we should be able to assemble something. With these big blocks. What do we got here? What are we building? Oh, is this a dollar sign? We're just building a giant dollar sign here. Did that? Oh, okay, that was just to create a mini kit. That wasn't actually helping us go into the building. Then we must continue exploring. We must continue exploring. Try to find a way in. Try to find a way in. What's this? We have a new suit for Robin here. We can get a new suit for Robin. But yeah, oh, by the way, I said I go running, I think, for, keeping up with my cardio. Holy cow, I need to switch to, like, swimming laps or something at the pool, because running in this heat is just crazy. I live in a very hot place, let's leave it at that. And the summers are brutal, and we also tend to get a lot of smoke from wildfires. And so sometimes in the summer, if it's a smoky day and it's just brutally hot, you step outside and it really just feels like you have walked out into hell, and okay, don't fall. These Lego game platforming bits always stress me out that I'm gonna just make some stupid mistake and plunge to my doom, and then have to redo whatever. Anyway, yeah, so when I'm going running, and it's hot outside and it's smoky outside. Wait a minute. I thought we got Two-Face earlier. I guess not. I wasn't paying attention. I was yapping too much. I thought that mission in the trunk, we had arrested Two-Face, but I guess not. And Two-Face is immune to the green sludge. His powers are too great. He can just walk through the green sludge. Alright, so we have to get Robin's collector suit and then collect enough junk to feed into that machine over there. Yeah, so anyway, it feels very unhealthy to go for a run when it's smoky as well. But yeah, that's why I need to just start swimming instead. bad, but sometimes for whatever reason I get back and my shins or my knees or whatever it might be that day just feels like brutalized from the running. And we have enough for this machine here. So I have often thought that I should switch to a cardio activity that's a little easier on the joints and stuff. Switch to, cycling, for instance, or swimming. Maybe I could get like a stationary bike. Just thinking stationary bike because then I don't have to go outside when it's smoky. And, yeah, anyway. But today it's pretty clear out. So, once I finish this video, gonna go do my whole workout, routine, and then, go for a run after. Okay, what do we have here? We just have to, run across this platform here, avoid these big laser things. Oh, you know what, obviously we have to hit those big buttons and not get killed by the lasers like that. Okay. Got those two. And there we go. The door is open. The Riddler and Two-Face collecting their gold bars. This is our boss fight here. Alright. I just beat him up. Beat him up, beat him up, beat him up, beat him up, beat him up. Can we, wait, do those, oh, it gave us some buildables, okay. I felt like destroying the gold bars would have given me a ton of studs. But instead, it just gives us something. Not sure what this is. A little yellow platform thing. And then the Riddler is. Oh, okay. It just deflects the bullets from the Riddler. Yeah, the whole superhero stuff, I was never really into superheroes too much. Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, yeah, they were never really like a genre that I was particularly into. I played superhero games and watched superhero movies from time to time, but it was more just, if the game looked good or the movie looked good, and not really because I had a particular interest in the genre. But I do like these this sort of older style superhero stuff. I like seeing the old comic book art from the when superheroes, when it was like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and stuff, making the comics. Two-Face is not sure what was going on there. He was getting like mind controlled by the Riddler. Not sure why he needs to be mind controlled by the Riddler. They're on the same side. I feel like it would be, thinking of collecting the rest of these boxes around the map. Okay, yep, getting a mini kit. And Riddler's off again. Do we have to fight Two-Face one more time? Looks like it. Looks like it. Looks like it. I don't know how the fighting works here. I mean, do I just have to spam combos until eventually I break through? Is there like a strategy to it? I'm not good enough for Lego combat. It's too complicated for me. But there we go. We have defeated Two-Face and the Riddler. And Robin jumping around like a little goof there. Level complete. Superhero. Stud total. Mini kit. Finish story. Let's see this ending cutscene here. Arkham Asylum. Clayface behind bars. Oh, doing pottery, it looks like. Mr. Freeze. Poison Ivy with her little garden. Two-Face flipping his coin. And the Riddler grabbing the bars. Alright, there we have it. Lego Batman, the video game. 8%. What is this? What is this? Oh yeah, the Traveler's Tales animation logo thing. Skip that. Alright, here we are, back in the Bat Cave. Back in the Bat Cave. Well, until next time, I hope that you're doing well. And I think for the next Lego game, we're going to be doing Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. There is a commenter out there who was very eager for me to play that one, so I will do that as our next Lego game. But until next time, my friends, please take care of yourselves